Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from the rest of the world. Here in Uganda, it's morning. It's 8 in the morning. Hope everyone is okay. Uh, you're waking up well. So I just want to appreciate you people uh, for watching the previous video. My names are still here. That is still Atria Simon. The details are just the way they are, as you are seeing here. Today's video is actually a continuation of the previous video about the basic understanding of HMIS tools. We went through a lot. I'm sure you have watched it. So this is basically the continuation from the first one. The first one was meant to allow you to understand the tools, the indicators, the data elements, and variety of things. So today, basically, we have decided to pick one. We shall be going per thematic area. So today we are going to go with our main topic here is going to be the key maternal and newborn mortality indicators. And we are basically going to triangulate this with our insights from World Health Organization, the UN Sustainable Development Goals, that's the SDG, and USAID guidelines. These are all there up. So we want to see how things work out, especially for my colleagues who are in this field, the data clerks officers, M&E officers, the biostats, anyone, students, anyone who wish to perfect in this field. Please, this is the right channel you need to watch and reach out to me in case where you get issues. Our subtitle here, we're basically going to look at, we're tracking progress and strengthening health system for improved maternal and newborn survival. How we're going to use data to inform decision making based on what we do. So, without wasting time, let's go to slide number 1. Now, my slide number 1 today is about the definition of key terms in basically MCH. MCH is maternal child health. You know, we have admissions, deliveries, so institution deliveries, live birth, all these terms, I'm sure you have seen them. Then maternal mortality ratio, maternal mortality rate, infant mortality ratio. So there's a lot that we need to pull out. So it's basically, I need your concentration in this area. At the end of it, please, I'm going to encourage you, wherever you're working, try to test this out. These are practical skills one need to have. Whether you're working in this country of ours, Uganda, or outside the world, we track all these indicators. Just the word giving you the reference. World Health Organization, this is just the way it is world. These are the same indicators. We need to track out this so that we advocate, for the reduced maternal outcomes, especially the mortality in our different countries, regions, sub-counties, even villages. Yeah. I hope this table is clear. Here I'm going to take time a bit so that people are able to understand. This table is majorly the key maternal and newborn mortality indicators based on WHO, SDG, and USAID guideline. So when you look at this indicator, we're going to go through indicator itself. This table has the first column will have the indicators, the definitions, the numerator, the denominator, how is it measured, and of which relevance, which framework is it affiliated to. The frameworks here where I'm looking at, we have frameworks that are coming from WHO, the UN Sustainable Development Goals, and then the USAID. I've also given you the reference number where these ones are from. So for better understanding, you can go and check out all these sources, these materials, so that we be on the same table we at least come up with something. Without wasting time, our first indicator looks at what? Maternal mortality ratio. Its abbreviation is normal, we do it MMR. Now, what is the definition of this indicator? We're looking at number of maternal deaths per 100,000 live birth. That's its definition. What is its numerator? The numerator, we're looking at basically number of maternal deaths. We look at how many maternal deaths, maybe in a day, in a month, in a week, in a year, in a 5 years time. That's what we are looking at. That's the numerator. Now, denominator, we're looking at total live births. Live births. How is it measured? We measure this indicator using death per 100,000 live births. And this, you'll get it from WHO, SDG, USAID guideline. This one falls in all of them. When you go there, you are able to get it. But the next slide, basically, we're going to focus more on maternal mortality ratio. So I'm going to give you the breakdown. Why is this 100 live birth? What is it? So we are going to break it down in the next slide. So here I'm basically looking at it. How do you come up with this indicator? You need to first understand this indicator. What is the definition? What is it numerator? What's the denominator? How is it measured? So in case you need more resources, where do you go? So basically this is where I'm trying to take you out. Now, there's a difference between maternal mortality ratio and maternal mortality rate. Now, often in very many occasions where I've been, many of our teams in this frat, people get lost mixing up the two. These two are different. How is it different? Today, this video is here to tell you that the difference between the two. So, when you look at a maternal mortality rate, its definition is number of deaths per 100 women of reproductive age 15 to 49. Meanwhile, maternal mortality ratio's definition was number of maternal deaths per 100 live birth. So the difference between two here is this age group, whatever age group there, reproductive. Now, we have regions, especially in Uganda, where we look at the Busoga region, where you have women age of even 11, 12 years giving birth. And if there's a death that occurs, a maternal death that occurs within that age of 13, 12, in the maternal mortality rate, here that mother is not counted as per the definition when we look at women of reproductive age. Now, this is general. But now when we come to Busoga, let's look at the example of Busoga, where we have 11, 12, 13, 14 years getting pregnant in a scenario where such person dies during the labor, is where we need to think of option B. So now, the numerators are the same. The numerator looks the same, but the denominator varies. The denominator still looks at total women aged 15 to 49. That's the reproductive age. So from today, those ones who are watching this video, just know that there is a difference between maternal mortality ratio and maternal mortality rate. Please get it from me, and you can, I've given you the reference here for to look further into it. Now, there's an indicator we always normally forget a lot when we're analyzing maternal mortality ratio for our stakeholders. Lifetime risk of maternal deaths. We're looking at here probability that a 15-year-old girl will die from pregnancy-related cause during lifetime. So basically, its numerator, normally it's estimated life maternal deaths. Of course, we look at female of population at the age of 15. So these ones are very rare indicators. They are normally not monitored much, but it is high time for us to think outside the box and start giving such analytics out, so that we, we'll be up to speed. Then there's also what we call institutional maternal mortality rates. So institutional, here the definition is maternal deaths occurring in health facility per 1,000 facility deliveries. Hope someone is getting me today. We are getting to understand all these indicators, how they are. So when you look at the top two, you go to IMMR, you discover that the one of institutional is looking at the deaths that occurs here at facility per deliveries. So now this time when we look at the numerator, here we're looking at number of maternal deaths in a facility, which might be like the same case with these other denominators. The numbers might be the same. However, the denominator is the total facility deliveries. Please pay attention in the numerator and denominator. How is it measured against its per deliveries? Still, we have the source there. I'm not going to talk much about it. The source. Then we have neonatal mortality rate. When we look at a neonatal mortality rate, the definition here is we're looking at number of newborn deaths within the first 28 days per 1,000 live birth. The other one was 100 live birth. Maternal deaths is 100 live births. Meanwhile, neonatal is 1,000 live birth. So its numerator is number of newborn deaths 0 to 28 days. The denominator is total live birth, and it is measured in death per 1,000 live birth. Early neonatal mortality rate, we're looking at number of newborn deaths within 7 days per 1,000 live births. So the numerator is number of neonatal deaths 0 to 7 days. Maybe let me break this down a bit. When we look at the neonatal deaths 0 to 7 days, we are going to look at fresh stillbirth. By definition, fresh stillbirth in summary is a death that occurs within the specific timeline from a facility where the delivery happens. This is just a summary, but there's a time frame for it. Meanwhile, we have macerated, that a death that occurs maybe probably outside the facility, and this is when you see now the body of the baby is peeling out. Basically, this one maybe might have happened from community, but the baby comes out and the body is peeling out. So those ones are under macerated, but there are definitions in regards to this. In case someone is eager who wants to know this, I will break it down later per the timeline. And then we have neonatal death. Neonatal death, we have 0 to 7 days. That's early neonatal deaths. Those deaths that occurs within 0 to 7 days, probably it may not be a facility or and a community, but if it happens between 0 to 7 days, that one is a neonatal death. So here, early neonatal death, that's what we are looking for. Because someone would ask me what would be the difference between the early neonatal death and the late neonatal death. Early is within 0 to 7 days, whereby we are going to look at late is from 8 days to 28. Anything beyond that doesn't fall within these two indicators. So our early numerator for early neonatal mortality rate is we're looking at number of neonatal deaths 0 to 7 days. Still, we're going to channel it to total deliveries, no, total live births. As a denominator, it is measured per 1,000 live births. Even for late, it's from 8 to 28 days. This 7 is a mistake. It's supposed to be from 8 to 28 days. It's still, the denominator remains, and how it's measured still remains. Now, perinatal death. Perinatal death is where we are going to look at the combination of the three. Perinatal death doesn't have, it excludes late death, neonatal death. Hope I'm not confusing anyone. When we look at prenatal death, we are going to look at fresh stillbirth, macerated stillbirth, and the early neonatal death 0 to 7 days. That is perinatal death. So we're going to look at number of stillbirth plus neonatal death, just the way you're seeing here. Still, it's over total live birth plus the stillbirth. So it's death per 1,000 total birth. That's how it is measured. Now, stillbirth rate, we are going to look at the number of stillbirth per 1,000 total births. So we have a case fatality rate for obstetric complications. Now, some of these indicators, we normally don't monitor them oftenly. We ignore them a lot when we're doing our analysis. So I think after everyone, especially the colleagues who are managing data at the district level, regional, national level, please, let's try to get some of these things out so that we inform our stakeholders. There's a lot that is happening out. We have all seen the trends of maternal deaths in regions, everywhere, neonatal deaths, all whatever I'm talking about. I'm talking about this because I've looked at the data we have at the national level, but I'm not going to disclose it here, what it is. This one, whatever I'm putting up here, is just a demo. It doesn't represent any region, any facility, or anything. These are demos. But this definition here, this training actually I'm doing here, is for our people in this fraternity to, I know you are already into these things, but there are indicators. Maybe you might be forgetting, or there's somewhere you get some issues, challenges, you need the support. So here is the support. I believe this table here is enough to speak and to solve our problems. So let's test these indicators out and we give them to the program people, the DHOs, everyone at the ministry. We give them out to test and we see how programs will improve. We need a better outcome for our mothers. It can be actually a way of advocating for the better outcome for our mothers outside there. So when you look at our case fatality at the obstetric complications, we look at the proportion of women with the major obstetric complications. Then its numerator is number of maternal deaths due to obstetric complications. The denominator, we're looking at total women with the obstetric complications. This one, of course, we are going to measure these ones in these normal percentages. Stillbirth attendance coverage, that's SBA. We are still looking at proportion of birth attended by skilled health worker. Then number of birth attended by skilled personnel, that's the numerator. Denominator is total birth. Why is this indicator here, skilled birth attendant? We have a lot of traditional birth attendants in these countries. We all know about them. And a lot of issues are coming out in regards with the outcomes. These traditional birth attendants, when you get into community dialogue with our mothers at the community level, you realize that when you do interviews with them concerning this, there's a study where I was involved. We're looking at PPH, that's postpartum hemorrhage. Basically, it's all about why is it high in this country? What is the cause? Every time when you hear everywhere, they say maternal deaths due to PPH, PPH, PPH. Now, when we try to get details, views of the community about what is happening around, you find that there's a lot that happens outside there. The community has different perspective from our clinical perspective. So it is high time for us to be translating data. Let's not only rely on data at facility. Yes, facility will inform us this, but what is behind the curtain? We need to get to the community to understand what's happening. What was the issue? What caused this mother to die? Let's dig deeper into the history. One of the things that are coming out, of course, we know the traditional birth attendants, these people, the way they handle these mothers, the way they talk to them. But you and I very well know that these are not professional health workers. There's no country where I've not heard, if it is there, But in my country here, for now, these are not the professional health workers. That's why it still call them traditional. So they are meant to, they're not supposed to see these mothers from down there. Ideally, these people are supposed to, basically, when the mothers approach them, they're supposed to refer these mothers to health facilities for professional assessment. But however, of course, community perceptions and what happens at facilities, when you join the stories, there are issues that are there, of which I will not talk about it here. Today here we're about indicators, but as someone who is in this field, you should not always leave things at indicator level. When you pull out this, you see trends are not coming out well. There's an increment. You need to dig deeper, come out with the solutions. We are part of the programming team. You give them suggestions. Then from there, they go deeper and dig. Things will improve. That's basically about it. The last one, I'll talk about cesarean section rate. C-section rate, basically, we're looking at the percentage of birth delivered via cesarean section. So its numerator is number of C-section deliveries. It's still measured under total birth. So we are here. We're going to look at how do we calculate maternal mortality rate. The numerator and the denominator here, so you're all seeing it. Numerator looks at total number of maternal deaths within a given time period, maybe 1 year, a quarter, a month. Now, a maternal death is defined as a death of a woman during pregnancy, childbirth, or within 42 days of postpartum due to pregnancy-related causes, excluding accidental and incidental deaths. So we need to be clear with this. Now, the denominator is the total number of live births during the same period. A live birth, by definition, is when a baby is born and shows a sign of life, breathing, heart beating, movement, and so on. I believe in our, in data, we don't need to talk much. That's all what you need to understand. Its formula is here. This is maternal mortality ratio. We look at maternal deaths over live births times 100,000. For example, here, if a country records 578 maternal deaths in a year and has 1,000 live births, this is how it is calculated, and this is how it is projected out as 578 maternal deaths per 100,000 live birth. That's how you should read it. So when you look at my explanation right from the start, I've been in a forum where they're asking me, you mean you have, in a scenario where you may have 7 maternal deaths, but when you formulated it here, it can give you maybe 180 maternal deaths per 100 live births. People say, hey, you mean we have around 198 maternal deaths in a month? My colleagues, I'm sure, I'm 100% sure, whoever has ever projected these maternal outcomes, there are people who always ask you, you mean we have over 100 maternal deaths? Or we have 60 maternal deaths? No. This is the right time for you to know if you have been having issues. This is the right time for you to know how to explain the 578 maternal deaths per 1,000 live birth, how it's calculated. Now, this is the breakdown of what I've been talking about. Maternal mortality ratio, basically, anyway, it's a key indicator we use to measure maternal deaths in a given population. Here is the breakdown. Now, the 578 deaths you saw there refers to the estimated number of women who died due to pregnant-related cause during pregnancy, childbirth, or within 42 days of delivery. Now, per 100 live births looks at, instead of measuring maternal deaths against total population, it is compared to the live birth because maternal deaths are directly related to pregnancy and childbirth. Now, why is this ratio used? The standard comparison using 100,000 live births as a denominator allows for fair comparison across the different countries, regions, and time periods, regardless of the population size, focusing on, of course, the risk related to pregnancy. Since maternal deaths only occurs among the pregnant women, women were not affected by this. It makes the ratio more relevant, okay? The indicator of healthcare, basically, this is how it has been suggested around. So now, when you look at this calculation, we don't look at our country here. It's global. That's why that calculation, that's why this breakdown is coming out. Okay, so let's get into some things more. Navigating DHIS2. Today we're going to look at Excel and DHIS2. Now, when you get into the system, in brief, I've taken you through the DHIS2 system. So there are some few screenshots. When you get to that menu, you click on Data Visualizer. When you go to Data Visualizer, this is just a recap. Then you go to Data Visualizer, they will display for you here this box. Basically, when this box appears for you, you'll be able to see different, let me say, items. First of all, you're going to see the columns, you're going to see the rows. What is under columns? Basically, there by default, you're going to see data, periods, then the organization unit. Data looks at all the data elements, indicators, everything that's to do with data. Periods, this is a time period that we need to specify. For example, when you click on the data, it's going to give you a search button. A lot of the data type, under the data type, that's when you're going to look at the indicators and data elements. They're all there. But in this, since I've taken you earlier, I believe we are all in this field. We all use HMIS tools that are all coded. So if you cannot code, there's that search bar. Just for example, MA113 is a maternal death. So when I put that code there, you see maternal death coming out. So when you see it popping out, it is searched and pulled out. We have these arrow keys. You just click on it, it selects the item for you. Then you update. When you update, you'll see down here how the different data elements you have selected have been selected and updated. So after here, you are going to go to the downloads. You download that data. So when you download that data in Excel, just the way I told you earlier, this is how it will come out. So when you see it coming out here, you need to do some basic sorting and organizing the data in Excel. So I've come up with like some basic analysis how in Excel whatever we have pulled out can come out. So these are the different data elements I've pulled out. You can see maternal deaths, that MA13 is here. Fresh stillbirth, the one I've been talking about, is here. Macerated stillbirth, newborn death, neonatal death, maternal deaths. So all this, as you pull them from DHIS2, we need to make meaning out of this data. I know all of us can't get this. Whoever is watching me at this point can't get this. Let's try this out in your free time. Try them out. You see how things will move out. Now, for example, I managed to do quarterly trends here. When you look at this side, these are now indicators. You can see neonatal mortality rate. We have maternal mortality ratio. So these indicators will tell you actually how things are doing when you're using your actual data. Now, these are my demos. My demos I've got. Now, when you look at my demos here, the quarterly trend of maternal deaths, here, I do not project, it looks like this doesn't have a meaning. Someone would see it something usual, that, this one is usual. But I can assure you, this first chart here about quarterly trends of maternal death, it speaks volume a lot. This chart will tell you that from January 2024 to December 2024, in that one calendar year, there has been a steady reduction in maternal deaths. Now, this one you do not celebrate as someone who is predicting it. Now we are interpreting this data. We have analyzed it here. We are now interpreting this data. So now, when you see trends curves going down, which means there is improved maternal outcomes, you need to launch out something deeper into this. What has happened? Why was it high in January? Why is it lower in December? What did you do to make sure this happens? Because you find that there's actually a region that is struggling with the maternal deaths. So now, you can do this QI journal, actually not a journal, you need lessons learned. You need to publish such good news out. You would save life from somewhere. This is how data helps us to save life, by projecting it like this, coming out, you explain it, interpret it very well, you bring out what made it come from 37 to 19. There, you would have saved someone somewhere. Though directly you did not participate, but somewhere you have saved the life. However, when you look at the quarterly trends for fresh stillbirth and MSB, when you look at this data, you will find out that fresh stillbirth is on rise, macerated is on a drop. Now, in the last quarter, fresh stillbirth, you and I know that this death occurs during the presence of a health worker. So now you need to dig deeper. What is happening at these facilities? Is it we don't have enough health workers? What is happening around? Is there any issues with the absenteeism? This is when you launch bottleneck analysis. One of the videos I'm going to pull out, we are going to do bottleneck analysis for people who have not heard about it or who are having challenges. You will learn also how to come up with bottleneck analysis. Now, that analysis will have to pull out what exactly is happening out. This one has just told you there's a problem. This one here has already projected that there's a problem, and a very big one that's happening at facility here. Now, when you look at this one of neonatal deaths, this one shows us that there's a reduction. C-section rate is on point because it's supposed to be less than 15%. Now, for a health center to a regional, to a national level, if C-section rate goes again below 5%, it's a problem. If it is 0% at the health center it is a problem. How is it becoming a problem? These people expected to do C-section. I'm sure you heard about BMOC. You can difference between CMOC and BMOC facilities. So there are trend expected to do it. Why are they not doing it? Now, if this C-section also goes beyond 15%, why? 15% is reasonable for a regional referral and the national referrals. We have referrals across that are sent to these people. At times the complications made those C-section rate. But for health center 4 to have a C-section rate of 20-30%, basically you also need to dig deeper. Is there an issues where they're telling people, people are paying money, they're just cutting people without assessing them? There are a lot of factors that attribute to that. So every time, do not look at data as data. Go beyond data. That's what we call now the M&E part comes in. You go beyond. Let's not leave it here. Even if you're a data clerk, you can pull out this out. Let's think outside. How do we support the program team to think outside the box? Basically, that is it. Now, when you look at our quarterly trends for infant mortality, institutional mortality rate per 1,000 deliveries, you can see here, this is a drop. Just the way I told you, we need to find out why it is dropping, why it is improving. Now, my other issue came around here, this institutional maternal mortality rate. Someone will say, hey, You mean in January to December we had the 112 dates? That's the reason why I'd put for you the upper section. So without wasting time today, I think we have come to the end of our sessions. I would love to appreciate all of you for watching this video. Please subscribe, like, comment. In case you need support, all my reach out lines are there, emails are there. Thank you so much. Hope this video will be helpful to you people. See you next time. Next time we're going to pull out NMCH indicators basically. Thank you so much.